Welcome to the Versus Men's podcast, where we're having real conversations and stories on faith, manhood, relationships, culture, and everything else in between. These conversations are tough, but we're honestly doing them because we have to become the men of God that He's called us to be. You aren't the only one who's trying to figure out your faith, your marriage, or you're struggling with an addiction. That's why this podcast exists. So thanks for listening, and if you enjoy this content, like, subscribe, and send it to a friend who needs it. Thanks for joining. Welcome to episode 3 of the Versus Men's podcast this season. I'm excited to have my friend on, Taylor Armstrong. You may have heard his name because of our integrity and recovery group that he helps co-lead along with Jacob Helton, and it's been going amazing. But another reason we're having him on is because he is an artist within the Christian music world, and he has his own story of recovery that I want you to hear. It's really impactful, and the dude's just amazing, and I love him. Taylor, thanks for being on, buddy. There's so many places we can jump into your story, into what you're doing now within the Christian music world, how you're helping with integrity and recovery. But let's start and go back to somewhat at the beginnings that I did not mention in the intro, that, man, you started with a metal band in Orange County.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to the beginnings, sir.
Yeah, dude. So first of all, super thankful to be here, dude. I love you, buddy. Stoked to do this. I love this church. Yeah, dude. So I'm originally from Orange County, like my guy John here, and born and raised in Dana Point. Really, dude, in high school, sort of fell into, at the time, like John, you know, like there was a big underground, straight edge, hardcore metal music scene going on out there. And I want to say junior year, sort of fell in with that crowd. And started going to shows, dude, and just had, like, for lack of a better term, an almost like spiritual experience, right? Just the community and like the energy and sometimes violence of those shows was so like otherworldly to me and rad. And so, yeah, we started a band my senior year. Senior year is also, like, to get into some of the drug stuff, is when I started, like, I was straight edge for all of high school, which is basically just means you don't do drugs or drink alcohol. Senior year, a girl broke up with me, and I was like, well, I'm going to start drinking.
It's where it starts to go bad, sir.
So I started drinking, dude, and I distinctly remember, this was before the band got any traction. I remember my buddy had some painkillers, and we were at a party. They were called Norcos, these little yellow, like, Vicodin pills. And I was like, oh, because I was down for whatever, dude. I was a trash can, just like, let me try, let me see. Anything that will get me out of my head. And I remember him going, dude, you can buy some of these, but I'm telling you, dude, these are really tough. Like, I've been taking these for a couple of weeks, and like every time I try to stop, bro, I feel sick. And I was like, dude, shut up, whatever. And so started taking those, dude, and started taking them pretty regularly. On the other side of things, my band, which was called The Confession, started to get a ton of traction. I think we played like 2 shows and then got signed by a subsidiary of Warner, and we were thrown on Warped Tour. Like, Warped Tour was our 3rd show or 4th show, maybe.
That's crazy.
Which was insane. And we were not prepared for that, dude. But as you can imagine, bro, like, the life of a touring musician does not lend itself to, like, responsibility, does not lend itself to sobriety. So the
good choices in general, usually.
Yeah, bro. Terrible choices all around for the kid on that point in my life. But dude, I just slowly was developing, unbeknownst to me, like, legitimately, like, I wasn't even aware of how serious it was getting, and how it was, like, honestly, like, my primary motivator as it started to get worse and worse was, like, first and foremost, like, before I eat, before I figure out sound, like, how am I going to get high, right? Specifically on opiates.
That's after graduating high school, going on first round of tours.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember exactly when it happened, but I do recall a story which I've shared with you. Is we were in Detroit at a venue called The Shelter, and if you've ever seen 8 Mile, it's like where Eminem raps, right? It's like a famous, like, crappy venue in Detroit. And dude, I was sick, and I didn't know why I was sick, and I'd been sick for days. And this chick that worked there, who's like an older, like, just burnt out chick, was like, oh, you're dope sick. And I was like, no, I'm not like a scumbag. Like, I'm not dope sick, lady. And she's like, well, what's your get down? And, you know, I basically told her, well, I take a ton of painkillers. And she's like, well, that's the same thing as heroin. They're both opiates. And she's like, I can get you some heroin. Like, it's very available in Detroit. You should walk outside probably, bro, and throw a rock and hit someone that sells heroin. I was like, okay, anything to like get me to feel better, right? And so she went out and she got it for us, and we didn't even know how to do it, right? Like, we were like trying to smoke it, but it worked, right?
Yeah.
And it shut off the insanity in my head for however long that high lasted, like all the self-doubt and just the craziness, bro, that was there in my head. It shut it off. So I was like, cool, I guess we do heroin now, right? And that, as the band progressed and we got bigger and bigger, and like, for the record, we were never an enormous band, but we got to a pretty decent size, dude, a pretty respectable size. Where we
opening for Megadeth's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, bro, we opened for Megadeth. My buddies in Avenged Sevenfold produced our album, brought us out on tour. We did a ton of like really cool, really big tours, but we were never the headliner. So I don't want to mislead folks. I was not a proper rock star. But dude, the addiction got worse and worse, specifically when I would come home. Because when I came home, that's when like the insanity in my head, and like, dude, just to backtrack, like I struggle with, like, I had low self-esteem. I never.
That's what I was just wondering. Where was the root behind that of stage nervousness, which everyone has?
Sure.
Was it just nerves? Like, where did it, even coming out of high school with experimenting then? Where was it?
Dude, I think, and honestly, dude, I don't think it was to any fault. Like, I was not abused as a kid. My parents were amazing, still are. I just think, dude, that I never felt good enough. And whenever I looked in the mirror, I hated, like, legitimately hated what was looking back at me, right? And because of that, because I never felt good enough, there was just this constant monologue or dialogue in my head that I just so badly wanted to shut off. And when I found drugs, it was like this quick fix, and it shut everything off. And it literally, like, it made me feel like everything was going to be okay. Little did I know, like, I was raised in the church, bro. I believed that Jesus was our savior, and I had all these great things around me. Little did I know that there is peace that you can find in Christ that is similar to that. But I just didn't. I wasn't pressing in. I wasn't aware of that. So drugs was like the easy thing. So I think that's why I grasped onto it so like tightly and was so hesitant to stop doing drugs for so long. Because I was like, bro, this is like you telling someone with diabetes to stop taking insulin. This is what gets me through a day. Like, are you nuts? Why would I stop this?
I mean, that's classic addiction language.
100%, dude.
Perspective, yeah.
Yeah, and I was not special. Like, what I came to find out is I was not special. Like, my thinking was the same thinking of every addict, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or porn. It's like, it's a thinking problem, right? But yeah, bro, as things progressed, like, drugs got worse. I eventually wound up just using intravenously, so with a needle, and did that, dude. And I ran that hard, bro, all the way up until I quit the band. I just wanted to stay home and do drugs. Got a job at Nordstrom's in Mission Viejo Mall. Got popped for stealing cash.
Were you and Tessa married at this point?
No, bro. Okay. I hadn't even met Tessa yet. Thank God. But, dude, I got popped for stealing money out of the register at Nordstrom's.
It's such an Orange County way to go.
So Orange County of me, dude. Not Ross.
No.
Nordstrom's.
Yeah.
So basically, they saw me stealing out of the register, and they let me continue to do it until I passed grand theft, right? Which is a felony, dog, by the way, right? And so it's like, I forget what day it was, bro. I got arrested. This Orange County sheriff comes in. I'm like in the middle of a shift trying to sell someone $100 jeans. And he's like, can you come with me? Handcuffs me, walks me up to the security room, and proceeds to put on a video. And he's like, do you recognize this guy? And it's me, like, looking around, dude, and like taking money out so unsmooth, bro. Like the worst thief you've ever seen, dude. Like, just terrible. And I was like, no, I don't think that's me. And he's like, oh, you're an idiot. It's clearly you. And then he goes,
you might as well flash your ID before you did it.
He goes, what about this video? And he proceeds to play like 4 videos, dude, where I'm doing the same thing. And so he arrests me. I had drugs on me at the time. So I got additional charges and went to jail. My parents were like, we're not gonna bail you out.
Yeah.
They were sick and tired. They had tried everything, bro. I'd been to rehabs. And
how old were you at this point?
dude, I want to say I was like 25, maybe 24, 25. So nothing crazy, bro. Was in there for like, I think it was like a week and a half. I got out the day after Memorial Day. And dude, I had a talk with my parents. I was like, I'm willing to give this like a try. Like I've seen what this leads to. I did not, jail's not fun. I don't care who you are. It sucks. And so, dude, I got sober. After getting sober, I was looking at, I was facing these charges. And so I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to be a felon or not. The band was over. I was struggling so hard with my identity, bro. I'm like, who am I if I'm not singing for this band? And so I had a buddy that lived in LA and he was like, hey, bro, who was also a felon. He was like, hey, dude.
Sounds like a winning game plan.
He's like, bro, I'm making a lot of money cutting hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. That's like, I can like have tattoos and dress how I want. And so I was like, cool, let's do that. So I moved up to LA, learned to cut hair at this place called Tony and Guy. Met my wife up there. She was going to Pepperdine. She was getting her, I don't think it was her master's, but it was her bachelor's in psychology. We met, dude. And I was like, I was keeping it on the rails at that time, right? Like I was no longer sober, but I was drinking. I had not, at the time when I met her, I had not jumped back full force into drugs. That eventually happened. I mean, bro, there's more drugs in LA than a lot of places. So it eventually, I found it. But yeah, dude. And she, I mean, through various ups and downs, dude, she stuck with me. I don't know why to this day. Like, I always look back, I'm like, dude, I would have dipped so fast, like meeting me, you know, and the things that I put her through. Nothing with like infidelity, but I was just a liar, bro. And I was like, I was always high and lying to her that I wasn't. I was falling asleep on dates. Like, I'm talking like I was a train wreck, bro. And I don't know, by the grace of God, dude, she saw something in me, right? And so, and I would have various bouts of sobriety. Like I would pull it together for a little bit, right? I get on some new medication that would like block my opiate receptors, and then I'd find a way around it. So we dated, dude, and then we asked her to marry me. Still don't know why she said yes. I'm so thankful she did. And we were married. We had our first kid, Cash, pretty shortly after. I was cutting hair, and I always thought, like, dude, once I have a kid, that'll keep me sober. Like, I'm a good dude. I had a good dad. Like, if once I have a kid, man, I'll pull it together. And dude, it did not work out that way.
It's just like the way we say we're going to pull things together when I get married.
Yeah,
and then
dude.
You're 6 months in, and you're the same guy.
And it's so funny, dude. Like, whether it's chatting with you or just other dudes, we all have our own life experiences that are unique. But it's like we think we're special. And then you talk to someone else that struggles, and it may not be the same thing you struggle with, but you realize, like, bro, we're all just so pre-programmed for sin when we're in that thinking, right?
Sin finds you when you're in that thinking.
Yeah, and I had no guard. I had no walls to protect me, right? Like I was on my own in a field full of wolves. I had no real relationship with Jesus. I wasn't working any type of a program of honesty, right? I had no community. I was lying to everyone and lying to myself. So it was like very easy, bro. I kept slipping up, and it culminated in I had slipped up again. My wife was pregnant with our daughter. My son was like about almost like maybe a year and a half, and I had been let go from my job, if I remember correctly, and I was lying to my wife. I was stealing money and depositing it into our bank account to make it look like I was getting a paycheck. Like, bro, just the sickest type of thinking, bro. And she caught me, and I came home, and she showed me a video, dude, because I was like denying. I was like, no, you're crazy. I'm fine. And she showed me a video, bro. And the more I tell this story, like it's so brutal, dude. But she showed me a video, dude, of me putting my son to sleep. And I like always, I would always sing to my kids, like when I put them to bed. And I'm singing to my son Cash, and he's in his crib, dude. And I'm like slowly nodding out, right? Because I'm high. And the end of the video, dude, is I am face first down in his crib. I've passed out, right? Singing my like perfect, beautiful son who never did anything to deserve any of this. and I'm just face down in his crib. And she showed me that video, and I was like, dude, and I had experienced so many like bottoms or lows before, but for whatever reason, dude, that was like it killed me. It killed me, dude. So I said, I don't know how we're going to do it. We don't have any money for rehab. I don't have any insurance. I got fired, but I need to get sober. And I had a buddy, my buddy Joey Price, who's still one of my best friends to this day, was like, hey, bro, you can come kick dope on my couch, and I will bring you to meetings, and I will try my hardest to make sure you don't relapse. And that was December 29th, dude. And that was almost 11 years ago.
Wow.
So
how much life can change in 11 years, man?
Dude, yes. And it was just, I think the thing that changed was like, I finally saw that my addiction was, and I should have seen it sooner because I was affecting so many people negatively, but there was something about seeing this kid who hadn't done anything wrong. And his dad's a full-blown pile, bloaty, falling asleep in his crib. And seeing that in a video, and my wife's crying, showing it to me, I don't know, bro. It broke something inside me for the better, right? I needed that to happen. So yeah, dude. And then I went and I got sober, and I did all the things that I never did before. I showed up to meetings. I shut up and stopped thinking that I had all the answers. I took advice from people who had what I wanted, which was sobriety. I got a sponsor. I got community. I dove back into my relationship with Jesus, like hard, right? Intentional, not like, Jesus, meet me here and you do all the work. Like I dove in, dude. I read books. I joined Bible studies.
Well, there can be a moment there where AA can fill a void of accountability in your life.
Dude, amen.
But it's not, and anyone who has been through a recovery group that's of that nature, the rigorous honesty is something that stands out as like, no, you will change your life.
Yeah.
And be held accountable. But I know you're going to say this too, and you're going to hit home for this podcast with it. But like, it's also not the same as a recovery group where everyone in there is pursuing Jesus at the same rigorous honesty alongside of a relationship with Jesus either.
I totally agree with that, dude. And I think that, and I've shared this in the recovery group that we have here at Rolling Hills. I don't know very many people who have really long-term sobriety without at some point finding Jesus. And I mean specifically Jesus. I don't mean like Allah or any other God. I mean like the only God. Like, because there comes a point where it's like, what am I doing this for? Right? Like there has to be a higher calling. And when you dive into a relationship with Jesus, this whole world opens up, dude, of like how much he loves you and what he's called you to be, not only as an individual, but also as a father or a son or a husband. And I personally do not know. And there are outliers. Don't get me wrong. There's guys with tons of sobriety who are atheists. And that's rad. Good for them. But I don't know very many personally that have achieved 10, 15, 20 years sobriety without a personal relationship with Jesus. And that says a lot to me.
What was you don't have to speak for her, but I mean, you know your wife well enough.
Yeah.
What was the faith journey for Tessa while you were going through this, you not connected to Jesus in the local church? How did that, to circle back, how did that happen?
So, dude, what's so funny, man, about like my time as a drug addict is I was always like, so I was aware, I hadn't resigned myself to being like, I always knew like what I was doing was not rad, right? Yeah. And so we were always sort of like, we were going to church, right? Like I remember for a long time we went, do you know Keith Page? From he like original Rock Harbor guy?
Yep, that's what I was just gonna say. Rock
yeah,
Harbor.
And he had his own stuff, and so I really related to his fall from grace. And he started a church, I'm forgetting the name of it, up in Costa Mesa, and I did worship for him, bro. Wow. For like a while, like not sober.
Yeah.
So we were always like, I was trying to it's impossible to press in faith when you have.
That makes a lot of sense, just so you know, with some of your new music of why you discuss what you do. We'll come back to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And dude, it was, but I only bring that up to say like, we were not devoid of,
church community.
Yeah. Like there were people who were actively praying on my behalf. And I think that was part of why I was able to pull out of it, right? Like I'm a huge believer in the power of prayer. So she had a little bit of a community. I was also part of probably one of the best churches I've ever been to. It was called Sanctuary. It was down in San Juan. My buddy Eric Botello started it, and it was just a church for drug addicts, like recovered, hopefully, right? Like you didn't have to be sober to go, but like it was ideal. So she had community, dude, and she had people specifically trained up for or prepared to deal with what she was going through. And I'm really thankful for those people because a lot of those people kept telling her, put the foot down, like cut him off. And dude, that was a big part of it because Tess did tell me like, I love you, but I'm out. I can't do this anymore. We got a daughter on the way. I have a son. This is like, I'm called to like provide and like be the mom for them. And you are like not helpful and you're ruining that. And so that was a big part of it too, bro, is like being faced with like, man, the love of my life effectively is like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Right. So that coupled with, and I think the reason she had the bravery to say that is because she had this community of Christians, specific Christians who had gone through addiction before that were there to like hold her up and be like, you need to drop the hammer. You
can't be codependent on this.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, there's programs for that too. Like I know she went to Al-Anon for a little bit. So those are all helpful, dude. And those are all things I didn't even necessarily know she was doing until I got sober, right? It was so cool to like look back, you know? But yeah, dude. So that was her headspace, I think, was just one of like, but she never had to deal with that before, right? So I don't think she knew how to deal with it. But I think having a community of people that had been through it before, and my parents, dude, were on her side. My mom, I remember my mom, dude, God rest her soul, hit me up and was like, I told your wife to leave you. I was like, what? I was like, that's an insane thing to say.
That's a mom who really,
but dude,
she cares.
Was so right. She was looking out for her grandkids and her daughter, right? And so it was those godly people in our lives that I think, I don't want to say Tessa wouldn't have gotten through it because she's super strong, but definitely helped her get through it, bro.
When was that moment that clicked for you about Jesus of like going from, I know what the gospel is, I know who Jesus is, to like, no, I'm now surrendering my life to him and I'm trying to understand the heart of God as a father? Because I know for you, your journey, there was a switch where it wasn't just, I was raised in this. Like the man you are today is 180 to all this. And I know a big piece of it is because a lot of the recovery, but it's also it's been a transition of even how do you feel like you relate to God?
Yeah, dude, I think there were a couple. So I don't have like, I wouldn't say there's like one quintessential come to Jesus moment, right? Like in middle school, I remember raising my hand and going up there and accepting Christ at some camp. And I think I meant it at the time. But there were a couple things that happened. I started meeting with a lady named Karen who was like just a prayer warrior, super spiritual woman. And we worked through, like, she called it like cleaning the house, right? Like, let's go through and get it all out. Because if you're not letting light in on stuff, and we talk about this in the integrity group, you leave a room closed, the darkness, it thrives, right?
It just gets grungier. You just don't, just because you're not opening that door doesn't mean something ain't going on behind it.
100%, dude. And good things do not grow in the dark, right? So we really worked through that. And I had like and I'm not this guy. Let me preface this with like, I am not the guy that has visions, right? Where God talks to me and stuff like that. But this was, or I should say, I was not the guy until then, right? And I had this, I was praying with her, bro. And I remember it as clear as day. I was sitting and I was sitting like on a bank. And like my clothes were all tattered up. I was bleeding. It looks like I'd just gotten a car accident, right? And I look over and Jesus, or at least what I thought was Jesus, right? In this like vision, is sitting next to me, just like chilling there, not floating on a cloud, not with like the light behind his head. He's just chilling. His legs are up. He's got his hands over his legs. And there was this really calm stream like in front of us we're on the bank of. And he's like, you had it pretty rough, huh? And I was like, okay, yeah, man. And I just talked to him like I would you, right? I remember not like feeling like I could look at him because I was so like ashamed. And he's like, dude, I'm gonna give you a rest, right? And dude, it was so real. It was real, but it was so gnarly, dude, to experience that because I never experienced the creator and author of the universe taking time out of his infinitely insane, I would assume, schedule to like sit there with me, right?
Yeah.
And dude, true to his word, my first like 4 years of sobriety was a cakewalk. Like he truly did get there. Nothing happened in my life, dude. All the legal issues went away. Like it was almost, it was true to his word. It was a time of rest. And then around 4 years sobriety, my mom got cancer. But dude, I was 4 years sober when that happened. And I was mentally and spiritually prepared to walk through that with her, which obviously led to her passing away. But dude, that was the first and foremost thing where I was like, there was this light that clicked where I was like, dude, I actually believe in and worship and serve a God who is interested in me, right? He's not this just like nebulous up there where I'm just chucking prayers up and hoping one sticks. It was like, that was the first time where I was like, dude, I serve a loving and active in my life creator. And then I did things, right? Like I joined Bible studies and I learned more. I remember a really big book for me, dude, because I've always been, and I still have some of this today. Christianese, some of the church culture talk is such a turnoff to me, bro. And people like me because I'm like, what are you taught? Heart posture. What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Right? Because I wasn't raised in that, right? So when I hear those things, I'm like, what do you mean? Are you having a good day, a bad day? Like what's going on? And so I read this book, Beautiful Outlaw by John Eldredge.
Oh, it's a great book.
And dude, there's a part in that book where he basically talks about like the type of people that the disciples were. And he's like, hey, just in case you were wondering, like fishermen back then are the same people they are today. They probably couldn't get a better job. They're probably a little rough around the edges. They may have cussed here and there, right? Like, and dude, that hit home to me because I was like, bro, when he came here, he like actively sought out dudes like me, right? And that was like a really pivotal moment where I finally felt like, dude, I belong. I belong to the kingdom of God. Jesus loves me. It doesn't mean that I can stay in my sin and not become better and not strive to be more like him, but it just meant at a base value,
he does not reject me.
He did not reject me, right? And I'd been rejecting myself, bro, for 29 years up until then. So,
Taylor, it's an incredible story, man, and it really is, and it's why I think God is using you right now.
Yeah,
and that's
so.
I think we all hope that's true. Like the crap we all walk through, it's never fun. It just never is, and it's whether we've done it to ourselves or sometimes that's just the way life happens and the storms that we have. Whether it is, a cancer diagnosis or something else that we couldn't control. But then somehow we'll look back in a decade and the Lord has used it. And like you realize that there was a fatherly comfort there that like only he could have given.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when we're like, I'm doubting it, like, but then you realize there's in some weird way we look back and be like, man, he was with me the entire time.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Is that why right now your music is so geared towards, by the way, and we should say you're playing a show, is it Jesus? It's Jesus in a Bar? Is that what we call it?
Jesus in a Bar. It's August 19th, I believe. And I'll probably play like 3 songs, original songs. So yeah, dude, I'm psyched. It's actually the first time outside of just like to my family that I'll be playing any of this music. And I've been doing this for 2 years now. So I'm excited, dude. I haven't played a show and I mean, it's not a show, but I haven't played like any type of venue.
It's a little different than the shows that you're used to.
Way different, bro. Still in a bar though. So we got that going for us, bro. But I'm really excited.
Are you nervous?
Dude, I don't think so. Playing live, like even when I was in the height of my addiction, like I never played high. I always made sure the show was good, and then I would use after. So I care a lot, and I'll make sure that I come prepared. I'm sure there'll be some nerves, dude. But I think too, like I've stayed active since I've come out here. I went down to a Place of Hope in Columbia of saying, so it's not like I've been devoid completely of worshiping, right? Or being on a stage in front of people, but we'll see.
So many of your songs, they're cash-like. And
Thank you, bro. It's such a compliment, bro. I will take that to the bank.
You're welcome.
No pun intended.
I mean, is that the lane you want to live in? Is because it's like, we're finding it's very interesting, even within the Christian worship music, CCM. Like, it seems like a little bit more grittiness is coming back.
Yeah.
Like, is that the lane that you, first off, maybe we should tell people, like, who are you trying to reach with your music?
So, I mean, I think that I can only write from my experience. If we're talking about like writing CCM and autobiographical music, right? Based on my life. So inadvertently, dude, I think I'm trying to reach other people like me. And that's been a learning experience, dude, because when I was struggling and in my darkest days, I was not listening to What's New in Christian on Spotify, right?
Really?
Oh, God, no. That doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I'm like, okay, dude, there's these people they're like in the trenches, or maybe they don't even believe in God, right? I'm really interested in the people that are struggling. And it doesn't matter what the struggle is. It could be, it doesn't have to be drugs and alcohol. I'm interested in people who feel like they don't belong at church, that have never been invited to church. I'm interested in people that have fallen away, the prodigal sons. I mean, really, dude, my hope, I think, when I write is that anyone and everyone can grab a hold of something. But I'm writing to my experiences. So obviously a certain type of person will probably gravitate towards that. And because I'm writing like, raw and honest songs about my struggle and finding grace in God. And I have and I have a song that I wrote for Tess called In Your Arms
That's a great song.
Thank you, bro. That talks about like literally what you asked before. Like the lyrics are, you were holding me up. Who was holding on to you? So it's like a thank you letter to Jesus and also like a love song to my wife. So I'm just trying to write, dude, honest stuff. And my hope is that people can connect with it. And my hope is that some folks that have felt like they don't belong or maybe have been gone from the church, maybe it just points them back to Jesus where they're like, oh, well, if this guy can fit, you know what I mean? Like, because I wish, and I think there was that music growing up. I just was, what I experienced of Christian music was just like the hits at church, and I didn't relate to them at all. Looking back, there were a ton of artists that I didn't know about, right? So I don't want to say that they weren't there, but dude, there's a lot of great artists out there right now, dude, in Christian music that are doing a similar thing. Like we were talking about Ben Fuller.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of the Brendan Lake doing the thing with Jelly Roll. I know that's got some hate, and I can't for the life of me understand why. So yeah, bro, like there's people doing it, and I think it's really important to do that. And I think it's important too to go, there's worship, right? For the church, and then there's
corporate worship. Yep.
Right? Or like singing a sermon is I think my wife coined that. She was like, you're basically just singing a sermon about God's grace. And so I think those are important to be like, those are two different things. Right? Like I would never classify one of my songs as a classical worship song, right? It's an autobiographical song about God's grace. So I think it's important too to know that there's a difference there, right? One might be like a ministry to the folks that are struggling, the prodigals, right? The other one is for the edification of the church, right? To come into a place of worship. Both are equally important. I've tried to write worship and it just ends up what it is. So it's like, I don't know, dude.
No, but I think it's important. I think that's why there's a growing landscape of artists who are in the house, so to speak, faith-wise, but then who they're reaching out to is just, it's different. And I mean, I even look back and, I mean, this is probably going to not come as a surprise to many people, but like a lot of the Christian cultural references that I hear, I don't know. Like I didn't grow up listening to Christian bands. I mean, me and you were both like, for those listening, if you have any background in Southern California, it's like, I grew up going to metal shows at Chain Reaction and grungy venues. And like, I still show up in Nashville to the grungy venues listening
we just
to
went, bro. That was a nice venue though.
The Pinnacle is fantastic if anyone who's listening. But like, I don't know a lot of the Christian references. And sometimes I feel like an outsider because it's like, I don't know. That's cool that you had that growing up in the CD player. I didn't. Like I had Metallica. And so, but there's this level, especially now as a pastor and what I want my kids to listen to, because there were some things that I look back and I'm like, my parents didn't really, the parental guidance was not really a factor in that.
Bro.
They're just like, well, what do you want?
Yes, dude. I remember, side note, I remember my dad, like unknowingly, I think I was in like 6th grade and we went to Warehouse. Remember Warehouse Music? And he bought me the White Zombie CD, which like is a full-blown like satanic rock band, bro. And I had no idea. And I remember opening the CD case and being like, oh my gosh. And my dad's like, what is that? It threw it away.
For those listening, White Zombie was the precursor band to Rob Zombie.
Yeah. Which is like, so gnarly.
Yeah. But you know, like it's those things that obviously like, okay, as a parent now, that like my kids, like my daughter's listening to like Linkin Park and like she thinks it's rad. And I'm like, Linkin Park, there's a healthy aspect to this, but then like, where do I draw the line? And I will say this, like I'm far more comfortable in like it's putting on something like you or Ben Fuller or these other guys who, you know, like their songwriting is really incredible and it's relatable. And like, cause what, you know, I also don't want them to be completely sheltered to things as well.
Well, and I think too, bro, the blessing of the current state of Christian music, dude, and you have some people even at this church, you can throw a rock and find legit, objectively talented musicians and good songwriting.
Yes.
Especially if we're talking like, if we're getting in the gospel, like insane players that would rival metal guitarists and drummers, right?
Yep.
So like the talent pool is so deep with Christian music now, and I think that's a good thing. And I think that, do you know that Ray Hughes guy? He like shared something. It's like, dude, if we're doing this for the Lord, we should be the best at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And I think that and that's not to say that wasn't there when I was a kid. I think it was. I'm just listening to it now. Like I'd never listened to it before, and I'm just like, and there's so many amazing artists now, dude, that are so freaking talented.
Yeah.
Just objectively.
Yep.
Like I'm not even talking like, yeah, they're really good for a Christian. I'm just talking objectively, they're good. So our kids are blessed, bro, because you can throw a rock and any genre almost, there's someone that's really good at their craft.
And it was an important distinction you made about like the corporate worship being edification of the church.
Yes.
And that's what, you know, back then, especially not just growing up in a more secular, West Coast, like that piece is now what I'm rediscovering is like all these worship artists who are just flat out incredible. I'm like, man, only if I knew about that when I was like 16, dude. 17, you know, but like people shoot me stuff from the 90s and I'm just like,
there's some solid 90s stuff, bro.
Yeah.
There's some solid, dude, you know, I just listened to John Jimerson, who goes here. He sent me some of like Rich Munchau's old stuff.
Really?
Who's at Saddleback.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, this is pretty dope, dude. It's like early 90s, like alternative Christian rock. I was like, this is honestly pretty
Someone
sick.
sent me was it Michael Card? I don't know. Someone can correct me in the comments on that. I think that's new. It was fantastic though.
Yes, man. Dude. And I think like maybe it wouldn't have hit then.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like the beauty of
it doesn't hit for every stage. We're in a different life stage now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I'm just really stoked, dude. Like whether, everything from like Forrest Frank to Brandon Lake and everything in between, like there's so many options for our kids now. Yeah. Which stokes me out.
So speaking more of all the options we have with music and stuff like that. So you're going to get continued down kind of, riding the line in between, CCM and what reaches out. I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing for ministry too, buddy. So can you give us a little more of you have led, just so people know, Taylor's led on our Wednesday night men's groups here, which just so you know, plug for that. We are coming back in full force for men's groups starting this fall. Tuesday mornings at 6:15 a.m., Wednesday mornings at 6:15 a.m., Wednesday nights at 6:30, and they're all going through my book, which...
Let's go.
Technically pre-order's open now. Which,
we got to get into that, bro.
No, it's okay. No. But I'm very excited for groups to be back, and it's going to be a great semester, but make sure to sign up, especially for Wednesday nights where we do have childcare, but you've got to get in there early. And like I said, Taylor was actually a leader there, but now he's leading over on Integrity and Recovery on Monday nights at 7. Mm-hmm. And so get us into that. Like that's something that you guys are still shaping, but how's it been going?
Dude, it's been amazing. And recovery it's messy. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of hard sometimes to like give it to quantify like how well is it working.
Yeah, it's not, hey, we have 30 dudes showing up.
Yeah.
Like that's not what success is.
No, and it's like, and it's ever, it grows and then it shrinks, and we'll have 40 dudes one night, and then we'll have 10 another night, and really, like, I'm a big believer in like keep the light on, right? So like even if it's just me and 2 dudes, it's still worth it, and if it's 40 dudes, it's just as worth it. You know what I mean? It's just as important. But it's been great, bro, and I think what a lot of men are craving, and you actually touch on this, dude, in your book. You talk about how there's these people out there, Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, who are not speaking to men with this Christianese, as you call it. And it's the same. It's like they're speaking straight, and they're speaking bluntly, and maybe sometimes they're cussing too, right, or whatever. But I have found that there's this desire for men, both in verses and in recovery, where it's like, dude, I just want to get real.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to get real. And I don't want to fear, like, if I'm saying it right. Right. And so that's been the biggest thing, dude, is like we get these guys in there, and you have to develop trust, right? First night, most guys aren't going to share their deepest, darkest secrets. I did because I'm used to it. So it's been a beautiful like thing, dude, that slowly grows every week, where you're seeing guys come in there and they're getting real and honest. And I see sort of some of the like nervousness fade away, and they're able to share. And it's not, and it may not be perfect, right? And they may like not.
They'll beat themselves up. Why did I say it like that?
Yeah.
And
like
that's, dude, for anyone who's been in a circle before like that, that happens. That's just normal.
But dude, I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
I'll take a dude that comes in and accidentally drops the F-bomb in the middle of a share. I will take that all day.
Yeah.
If he's getting real and honest and he's asking for prayer afterwards, and I see a marked difference in his life, I will take that all day over, and I haven't had this experience at this church, for the record, but over some meetings I've been to, or Bible studies I've been to throughout my life, where it's like everyone's just topical.
Yep.
It's like, what do you do for work? It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? You're dying inside.
Yes.
And so I'm so interested in that, dude. And so what I mark as a success is when a dude goes, bro, I haven't looked at porn in 4 weeks. I haven't put that much time together in 10 years. Hey, I haven't drank in dude, whether it's a day or a year. That to me is success. Hey, and they're coming in and they're getting honest, and there's a community there. And I think that's like the magic of recovery, is that you foster this place where dudes can come in and they feel safe, right? And they can get open and honest, and then you can pray for them, you can intercede for them, you can like walk with them, you can give them a call during the week and be like, hey bro, how we doing? And there's some level of accountability there, and it's really hard to do that, dude, if when things get so big.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about this the other day. It's like, I can't imagine, dude, being the head pastor or the men's pastor. There's so much that you have to do. It's really hard to get into the trenches with each and every person. It's impossible. Yeah. And it's actually maybe not even in the job description. So what's beautiful about that, dude, is it's like a combat trauma center where dudes can come in.
Is that the phrase we're using now?
Bro, they can come in from the front lines, and we can do the combat medic thing where we stop the bleeding, right? Or we tourniquet the wound, and then sometimes they'll go and they'll get care from Kathy or someone, right? Or sometimes they'll stay there, and then they develop their relationship to a point where it's like, hey man, I want to know more about this Jesus, right? And that's been rad too. We have people in there that are like not sure where they stand with Jesus, and
which is beautiful.
That. I love that. Because it's like, dude, you walked up into a church, and you've been welcomed into this meeting. And I know for a fact, bro, because I've seen men in my life who did not believe in Jesus, and all I did was keep inviting them to church. Jesus meets you there. He will meet them there. You don't have to be a theologian or well-versed in apologetics to get a dude to just get his butt into a chair, and Jesus will meet him there, bro, and he'll do some miraculous things. So that's the stuff that stokes me out, dude.
No, and what I love, man, and like, just so you guys know, like how we kind of think through all this is like, all of our men's groups, when I say this, no one's gonna be surprised. We, as a ministry in any men's group, are leaning into this idea of we are meeting you where you're at, and not everyone is in the best season. That's just not life.
Yeah.
And
Amen, dude.
so how do we, so like, we're starting off all of our men's groups, especially on campus, and we're going to work to it off campus and men's community groups too, of heart check-ins. And that sounds a little cliche, or just a check-in, but of where are you really at this week as you walk in, to develop the skills of self-awareness of this is what's rising up inside of you. And then when we do have guys who are honestly, like some of our men's groups and our men's on campus table groups, we have guys who do both Monday nights, Wednesday nights, or their recovery group and a men's group, because they get something from each one. But Monday nights is specifically like, it's what you said, it's the trauma center. It's like, if you are walking through something right now that you're hiding, that Monday night is a weekly check-in that is only about that. Whereas where you go to your men's group, the first 20 minutes may be checking in on that, but it's your entire time is not just exploring that wound that you have in your life, or that thing, that hidden sin you're having.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more holistic, but that's where our men's ministry is trying to do, collectively help guys. And dude, that's what's so great. It's like we never had something like this, but the need was so clear, because we would have guys in our men's groups who are like, man, I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
And okay, well, where do we get guys who they feel like life's just falling apart?
Yeah.
And we have you and Jacob Helton who are just leading the way. And then like once they'll go through, you can go through a season of going on Monday nights and either go on Wednesday nights again, kind of do both, or just do one for a time and then jump back in. Like, it's like what you said, man, people come and go. And that's the beauty of it, is like you develop a friendship with these people who you're having like rigorous honesty with your life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I think that was the biggest thing that I like through this, I've come to the realization of, is like, you can't be all things to all people. And what I realize is like this Monday night thing is like, it's like a safe harbor. Now, if you are a like knockdown, drag out alcoholic, Monday night is not going to be enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
you got to get to it.
But here's what happens is you'll have dudes like me or Jacob or some of these other guys who actively are still members of AA, and we can point you to the next indicated step that will help you. So that's been the coolest thing, dude. I have failed in the past trying to be all things to all guys and like heal them on one night a week at a church meeting. And what I realized, dude, is it's more that like the trauma, like the combat trauma, like approach, where it's like, let's get you in, let's get you patched up so that you don't die, right? And then let's send you on to the next place that's going to help you. And I'll see you back here on Monday, and we'll check in, and I'll hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So,
no, man, it's great. And I mean, you and I have talked about this extensively, but that's just where we're at in culture. I mean, right now we're seeing across data points, whether you go to like something like Barna for data or Lifeway, young men are flooding back into the church.
Love that, dude.
And it's how are we going to meet them there? Because guess what? They're not coming just with, they're not showing up just with, I just thought it was the best idea for today. No, they're coming with their wounds of life.
Yeah.
And it's how are we prepared to meet them in that, and to say, I've been there too, man. Because here's the thing, by not saying you've not been there too, you don't gain trust with that generation, with our generation,
Yeah.
And so I think that's the importance of how we frame our whole men's ministry, including Monday nights, is, man, we're safe harbor for this.
Yeah, dude. And I think in today's society, right, it's like there's so many, whether it's social media or everything's done on a Zoom, and there's no like there's less interaction now today, that I think people, men specifically, are just dying for some like face-to-face community, right? And it's like we're not meant to go alone, right? Like, to plug the Versus motto, it's like, So I think that's been a big thing, and I think that's something that you've continually pushed into since I've known you, and I think that's so important, dude. And I think it's going to become more and more important as AI gets as all these things come to more prominence. I think more and more people, whether it's in the music they want to listen to or the community they're seeking, they just want real and raw and honest. So it's a worthy endeavor, bro.
I don't know about you, but we act like at the end of COVID, the epidemic of loneliness went away.
No,
it's just, that's the biggest lie. And that,
It is,
and
bro.
it's
It just shed light on what was happening. I mean,
it just exposed you when you're by
Yes.
yourself in a room all day, man. You can't hide who you are.
No.
And if in fact it fosters even quicker most of the time.
I think Satan, dude, does his best work when we're alone, without community, right?
Yes.
And because I mean, it's like there's no one to check the thoughts.
Yeah.
It's just you and whatever thoughts, and it's so easy to believe the lies that the world tells us or that we tell ourselves.
Yep.
And if you don't have a crew of people that are checking those and are praying on your behalf and interceding for you and like saying, "Hey, man, that's not true."
Yeah.
You know, you're done. You're done. Like I tell that to these dudes on Monday, I'm like, bro, there's so many metaphors, like both in the Bible and out of it, where it's like, you need to stay in the pack.
Yep.
Do not be the sheep that wanders off over here because you're going to get dunked on.
Yep. Devoured by the, you're going to get devoured, man.
Yeah.
No, and that's, I mean, what's so funny is like maybe it just wasn't a practice back in Orange County for me, but like as now a grown adult who realizes, and I'm a pretty introverted guy. I
would never know.
Well, the life of a pastor, you kind of grow extrovert skills.
You're forced.
But like, here's the thing. One of my favorite things now that I cannot believe I say out loud is like having guys over to just hang out around the fire and then encouraging other guys to do the same, whether it's like your men's community group here or whatever. Like, man, like even Kristen, my wife, loves it now of like, oh, guys are coming over. Great.
It's beautiful, dude.
Because like, there's something to just being outside and hanging out, laughing, but at the same time, there's always one quick turn to like, oh, it's about to go serious, it's about to go deep here, and that's what, man. There's just like that. There's something about that we need as men, and I think the epidemic of loneliness, it's only fostered the importance of that, and we just need to keep going down that path of. If you actually belong as a man, dude, it's a lot harder to like you said, to be devoured by the devil,
Yeah, dude. And I think too, like, I mean, I look at just like being able to have an impact in people's lives. Like you're never going to like have a true impact in a dude's life if you're not there physically with him around a campfire, at a meeting, in the trenches, walking with him. And like, bro, I just look at like Jesus and the type of hang he was with the disciples, right? It was like a lot of campfires. Guy loved campfires. At least that's what it looks like in The Chosen. Yeah. Big campfire guy. But dude, like he was there. He was in it. He was with them. He was walking with them. They were doing life. And I think that is really important, bro. You gotta like take the gloves off and get down there with these people.
Find your people. Yeah, find your people.
Find your people. Yeah, for sure. You can't be all things to all people. That's an unhealthy.
Not everyone's safe,
right? And it's unhealthy to even try to do that. But find your people who you love and trust, and dude, walk with them. Get together with them in person.
Yes.
Right. Phone calls are cool. Texts are cool. But like, meet up.
Yeah.
Hang out around a fire. Do whatever. But just like, because you said something, dude. Like, eventually, someone brings up something personal. That does not happen if you're not sitting around the campfire in person. It just doesn't. Like in my experience, like phone calls are great, but like when you're there and then dude, when you're there in person, you can pray for them in person. Yeah. You can like speak into them and they have to look you in the freaking eyes when they do it. And it's heavy, bro. And you
can't lie to everyone in front of them.
No, but there's like healing there and there's a power there in community that you just don't get over a Zoom or a phone call. And so I think it's super important, dude. Community is everything, I think, when it comes to walking this life and living it in a way where it's like, I got people holding me accountable. Right? Like I got a standard to live to. So yeah, dude.
Taylor, I've loved this today, buddy. Where can people find your music?
Dude, so I actually I had to change my artist name because there's a dude named Taylor Armstrong that's rad. That makes like super cool music. So I changed it to just Taylor Holland, which is my middle name. But Instagram is Taylor Holland Official. Music on all streaming platforms, Taylor Holland. And I got a song coming out. I believe it's the 20. Dude, I should know.
Soon.
September 12th or the 21st. One of those. It's called Pray. It's probably my hardest hitting song lyrically and thematically that I've put out yet. But I'm super proud of it, dude. And I think it's gonna touch touch some people and point them back to Jesus. So,
Amen,
stoked on
buddy.
it.
Well, I'm proud of you and just I'm grateful for your friendship.
Yeah,
So,
bro. I love you, dog.
Love you, man. Guys, this has been the third episode of season 2 of the Versus Men's podcast. Please sign up for the Chip Dodd September 4th event, Versus Equip. You are getting free barbecue, but listen, you seriously have to register because we got to order the right amount of food. Come on. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next episode.